$31. That's what we paid for an upcoming trip. 5 nights, 2 hotels, flights there and back, $31.02. Stick around. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I booked it. Every point, every card, every credit, step by step. No gatekeeping. But more importantly, you'll know how you can book trips just like this for yourself. But let me take you back to where this trip all started. Because this trip didn't begin as some perfectly engineered points redemption. It started with an invitation. There's a meetup happening in Charleston, South Carolina, and when I heard about it, I knew I wanted to go. Charleston was already on our radar. It's one of 4 official America 250 showcase cities, recognized for its central role in the Revolutionary War, right behind Boston, Philadelphia, and New York. And if you know me, you know I don't just travel, I history nerd my way through every single destination. So the meetup was the anchor. Wild Dunes Resort, a Hyatt property on the Isle of Palms, booked for 3 nights. Flights were next. Simple enough, right? Until it wasn't. Here's where the planning didn't go as I anticipated. And honestly, a little frustrating at first. Friday flights weren't working. And I don't mean they were just a little bit more expensive. I mean the options that made sense on points, the ones that were actually reasonable in miles, would have gotten us to Charleston so late that the first night would basically be a wash. Check in at midnight, pay for a hotel night we'd barely use. That's not a redemption. That's a waste. The earlier Friday flights that would have landed us at a decent hour, way too many miles. We're talking redemption values so low, they weren't worth it. I'm not burning points at less than a penny per point. That's not how we travel. It's also part of a learning curve. So I went back to the drawing board. I looked at Thursday, not horrible, but not great. Then Wednesday. Wednesday worked. The flights made sense. The miles redemptions were solid. The timing was right. But now we had a new problem, and honestly, a bigger one. Flying out Wednesday meant we now had 2 extra nights before the meetup even started. 2 nights that weren't in the original plan. 2 nights that needed a hotel. And here's where most people might have gone back to Hyatt and added 2 nights at Wild Dunes, which, don't get me wrong, looks like a beautiful property. But I started thinking about those 2 nights differently. I asked myself what other cards or credits I had that might help me with these 2 nights. I did have 2 of my Chase Sapphire Reserve Edit Collection credits sitting there completely untouched. We also had a Chase travel credit we'd only partially used. We'd spent some of it on taxes and fees for flights, so we had $259 left. And I thought, what if we used these 2 nights in downtown Charleston instead? I started researching Charleston properties that qualified for the Edit Collection. And that's when I found the Ryder Hotel. There were others, but the Ryder looked beautiful and its cost was reasonable, something that I might be able to make work by stacking these credits. And honestly, the roadblock of horrible Friday flight redemptions just became the best part of the trip. Okay, so let me walk you through every single redemption because there are 4 of them. First, flights down or on Delta. I booked my husband's flight for 14,600 miles and $5.60 in taxes and fees. We had a $200 Delta credit I used for myself and $19.80 for my flight. Now, Delta miles are notoriously variable, but with the $200 Delta credit factored in that was expiring late summer, it was the right move. Pair that with a miles redemption, and it worked perfectly together. Second flights back were American Airlines. 26,000 miles plus $11.20 in taxes and fees for the 2 of us. That's a 2.4 cent per point redemption on Savor Award seats. It's a decent redemption. And with $11.20 out of pocket for those flights, we'll take it. The AA miles used here were earned through the City Strata Elite card, which transfers directly to AA, not Chase. That's an important distinction because a lot of beginners assume everything runs through one program. It doesn't. Third, and this is one that I'm most proud of, it's the Wild Dunes Resort. It's a 60,000 Hyatt point redemption. 3.6 cents per point at a Hyatt? That is well above the standard benchmark. Most people quote 1.5 to 1.8 cents per point for Hyatt. Wild Dunes looks to be a stunning resort on the Isle of Palms, beach, pools, golf, and we're staying there in points. And this is exactly why I redeem my Chase UR points for Hyatt every single chance I get. If you're wondering how to earn Hyatt points without staying at a Hyatt hotel, Chase Ultimate Reward points transfer to Hyatt 1-to-1. It has been one of the most valuable transfer partnerships in the entire points and miles world. But with the changes that occurred on May 20th of 2026, we shall see what happens moving forward. Last, the Ryder Hotel. This is the one that came out of the roadblock, the one we found because Friday flights didn't work. The Ryder is a boutique Hyatt property right in the heart of downtown Charleston. And it's part of something called the Edit Collection by Chase Sapphire Reserve. Here's what the Edit Collection actually is. Because if you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve and you have never heard of it, that means you're leaving hundreds of dollars on the table every single year. The Edit Collection is a curated group of boutique hotels handpicked by Chase. And as a Chase Sapphire Reserve benefit, you get two $250 credits per year to use at any Edit Collection property. That's $500 in value annually, just sitting there, waiting to be used. An important thing to know, benefits of booking an Edit Collection hotel include daily breakfast for two, a $100 property credit for dining, spa treatments, or other on-site activities, a complimentary room upgrade subject to availability, early check-in or late checkout based again upon availability, free Wi-Fi, and a welcome amenity. Some reports have indicated that if you book 4 nights using 2 Edit Collection credits back to back, you may lose the perks on that second 2-night stay. So I'm going to recommend spacing those out if you can. So here's how the Ryder Hotel stay came together. We applied what was left of our Chase Sapphire travel credit, the $259. Remember, that's a $300 annual benefit, and we had already used $41 of it on flight taxes and fees. Then we applied the $250 Edit Collection credit. Remember, Edit Collection stays require a 2-night minimum. Then we used 13,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards points at 1.65 cents per point to cover the rest of the booking. Stacking those 3 things together, a boutique downtown Charleston hotel out of pocket for us was 2 cents. 2 cents. So let's add all of this up together. Delta flights, $19.80. American Airlines flights, $11.20. Wild Dunes Resort, $0. The Ryder Hotel, 2 cents. Total out of pocket, $31.02. Retail value, $3,935.21. Points and miles used, 113,000. Average value, 2.6 cents per point, $31.02. 5 nights downtown Charleston and the resort, 2 hotels, flights both ways. Here's the part I want you to really understand because it's bigger than the $31. That Friday flight problem, the one that felt like a roadblock, it gave us 2 extra nights in downtown Charleston at what looks like a very beautiful boutique hotel. It's actually giving us a bit more time to explore the city that has been standing since 1670. Time to walk streets that people walked during the Revolutionary War. Time that we would have missed entirely if everything had gone according to the original plan. The roadblock made the trip better. That's the thing about this hobby that nobody tells you at the beginning. It's not just about saving money. I like saving money. It's about learning to see options that other people just don't have or see. A bad flight time isn't a dead end. It's a question. What else is possible here? Look at your spreadsheets and find those opportunities. So, we're going to Charleston later this summer. We are counting down the days, and when we get there, the experience, the hotels, the history, all of it, I'll bring you with us. All right, 2 things before you go. First, if you want the full written breakdown of everything we just covered, every redemption, every cents per point, every credit stacked, every card I earned points on for this trip, it's all in the blog. The link is in the description. It's free, it's detailed, and you can reference it anytime you're planning your own trip. Second, if you're new here, this is what I do. I find the redemptions, I break them down, and I bring you along for the trips. Everything from the sign-on bonuses to the actual trips taken. Subscribe so you don't miss the Charleston on-the-ground content when we go. And if this video saved you money or just showed you something you didn't know was possible, please share it with someone who needs to see it. That's how this community grows. And if you have a Chase Sapphire Reserve and you haven't looked at the edit collection yet, go look tonight. Your credits are waiting. We'll see you in Charleston. All right, so I have 2 new pieces of tech. If you didn't notice, I have a new microphone. Finally figured out how to use it with the iPhone 13 Pro, which has a lightning adapter in. I have my beautiful new plant. Do you want to help me name her? Or him? I don't know. What is it? Male, female? Tell me. Let me know what you want me to name my new plant. Until next time, happy travels.